Thank you, Kirsti, for the nice introduction. There was some nice years back at the Geological Survey. Yeah, I think Heiko was the second PhD. But yeah, just a few words about Asplan. We're a consultant company with planners, architects, and engineers. Around 1,300 people. And have more than 30 offices around the country. So, more about the details of the big picture in Norway. I'm sorry. There will be shortage of electricity and electric power in a few years, according to Statnett and other publications, and this will give more volatile and higher prices. And we use direct electricity for heating in Norway. That's very unusual compared to other countries. And this is also preferable in many cases, and it's allowed in the building regulations. But the coming shortages and the electric heating of buildings blocks the green transition in Norway these days, and that's quite severe. Because the net companies, they have to say no to new industry and also to upgrade from fossil to electrification. And this means that we have to use other things than direct electricity to heat our house, for instance, gas heat pump technology. And then we also need a waterborne or a hydronic systems in our buildings. So there's a great job to do. And all these things we can do right now. There is also green investments towards smaller and local projects, which I come back to. If you do use local energy and measures on energy efficiency measures in our buildings, we can reduce the need to invest in new power generation and nets and infrastructure. And this is worth 10.5 Norwegian crowns per kilowatt hour in production capacity. So for every kilowatt hour we produce locally or save in other measures, it's worth more than 10 krone for the society. So we have some goals in 2030, 50% reduction in the climate goals, emissions. We have an electricity subsidy this year and next year. We will be a net importer of electricity in between 26 and 27. The rate of investments is not high enough to reach those, but we can accelerate this by external finance and competence. And everything between here is a lost potential. If we make potential, if we manage to do that, we gain sustainability, we gain degree of self-sufficiency and local competitiveness and protection against energy poverty. But it do not stop. In 2030, we have the Energy Performance Building Directive, which is very relevant here, and everything has to be net zero in 2050. So the potential for ground source heat, we can heat and cool our buildings with this technology in Norway, and that will produce 33 terawatt hours from the ground every year, and that's equivalent to a fifth of the electricity production today. So it reduces the strain on the grid, and electricity can be used for more higher purposes, industrial and electrification of the transportation sector. And it's, of course, great jobs. This was a study from 2011 for the Norwegian energy authorities. So Asplan is involved in projects all around the country and also a few projects abroad, about 100 a year. And we serve several other dealers in Norway and has developed services within the technology since we split it, started an NGO and started at Asplan in 2008. So to the technology, we have a borehole with a plastic collector, and we have a heat pump. The normal temperature in the Norwegian bedrock is around 6, 7, 8 degrees. So we need a heat pump to transport this temperature up to a decent level for heating of the buildings, floor heating or radiators. So the energy well is look like this. This is off-the-shelf products. We drill a lot of wells every day. Closed loop, we can most common and can install almost everywhere. And typical depth is from 150 to 300 meters, or sometimes deeper. Large and small for a single cabin or for a large hospital or district heating system. We collect stored heat in the ground, and this is not heat from the groundwater movement. We have several measurements on that, so it's really stored solar energy that's in this top surface of the ground. And we can place the boreholes under the parking spots, on the buildings, etc. But of course, if you have a high heating demand, we need several boreholes, and the boreholes need to be some distance from each other. Recommendation is 15 meters, and if you have very large heat demand, we need a lot of boreholes, and it might not be room for them on the area available. So then we recommend to make thermal energy storage. We jump right to the high temperature for thermal energy storage, and this means that we put all these off-the-shelf energy wells close together, like a needle in a pillow, and we inject heat, more heat than we extract, so the temperature in the bedrock increases. This takes time, but if you have this large volume of warm rock, you can extract more energy during the winter, and that's the key point. And this is an effective use of the energy well, because the boreholes are a cost-intensive part of the installation, and we have large systems have a high efficiency. But here, this is not a single house technology. This is a large system technology. Because size matter, and we need a high volume to surface area ratio, because we will have heat losses in the edges around here. So back to the solar PVs. The sun shines on the day basis, and also more in the summer than in the winter, at least here in Norway. And it's an exponential growth technology. The heating demand in Norway is the opposite. We need energy in the winter when there's no solar. But if we make geothermals, we often call it geothermals, and I'll explain why. We can utilize this so that the electricity demand matches the PV production. So how to do that? We go to Viak school in Drammen. This was a school built in 2018-19. It's 10,000 square meter, and it is a high temperature borehole, thermal energy storage. And it's for direct heating of the school. Note that this is have a floor heating with 15 centimeters distance of the pipes in the floor, which makes the room that can deliver heating from 25 degrees and up. This was partly funded by Enova. So there's quite a small plant, but it's 100 bars of 15 meters depth, and it's 4 meters between the boreholes. So what's really happening here? That you see how we can put all these off-the-shelf products together and to create a new thing. We have the solar panels, which gives electricity for the heat pump, and the heat pump gets the heat from the outside air during the summer via a dry cooler, and the heat pump, of course, lifts the temperature from the outside air until 50 to 55 degrees and put it into the 100 boreholes here. So within 2 years, the temperature rises from 7 degrees Celsius to about 40 to 45 degrees inside here. And this is enough to just circulate it back into the building again for floor heating. Just a circulation pump of 800 watts is enough to heat the building during the winter. So then we're talking. It's a very fascinating project. And here you see it during the construction period with all the snakes. Actually, we cooperated with Kirsti in the Ramstad project and had these fiber cables installed in these 11 boreholes. There's a cross section here. This is close to art, I think. This is a vertical cross section of the temperature. This is from the first year, after the first year of injection of heat. And then it goes from 7 to 25, 30 degrees here. This is after the second summer with heat injection, and it goes up to 40 to 45 in the center core here. This last winter was the first winter with full operation of extraction and heating the school, and 150,000 kilowatt hours was extracted from the walls directly to heat the school. And this was last fall, and the results are even better this year, but we haven't analyzed it in detail to be presented. Just to switch into a larger project in Trondheim in mid-Norway. This has been studied in a conceptual study, and it's integrated into the district heating system in cooperation with the Statkraft in Trondheim. So this is an area with around 400,000 square meters of new buildings. This is a transformation area in Trondheim. So for heating this area, we need 250 wells and can deliver approximately up to 15 gigawatt hours a year and 5 megawatts of thermal power. So then we utilize the excess heat from the waste incineration, which is available from in the district heating system, and we store this 90 degrees temperature in the ground, and we can extract it out and between 60 and 45 degrees for direct heating of the whole area. If you make a larger version with 400 to 500 energy wells and we deliver heat for the Nyhamna area as in alternative one, but in addition we also integrate it into the district heating system and then we need a heat pump between the storage and the district heating system because it's higher temperature. And if we do this, we can deliver up to 45 gigawatt hours a year and 13 to 14 megawatt. And of course, this will release the energy system around during the peak hours. So this project has gone further and in a pilot study, partly funded by NOAA, because we have to check that the collectors can tolerate the temperatures in the field, and also some geotechnical issues and some more investigation of the groundwater situation. And if you build this larger version here, it's on the size of the chaos pyramid. Just a fun fact. So the potential of this geothermal solution is not calculated, but we think it's quite large because we can integrate it with the district heating system, and that's really the big thing. And the second big thing is for industrial purposes and in areas with large flows of excess heat. And we have these large building areas, larger buildings and areas with new buildings that require low temperature. And we need a size from approximately 1 gigawatt hour and up. This is, of course, especially well suited for performing on cold winter days when the energy system is stressed, and the industrial purposes can be significant. But we have to take care of the geotechnical issues here. The clays, there's not very much research on how the clays will respond for high temperature. So now we try to avoid it. So how to reach the potential for the Ramstad heat pump technology and geothermal solutions. There's a financial barrier which Anders talked about. It's still, well, we are about to remove it. Actually, that's the point here. But the high investment cost in renewable energy is an unfortunate hurdle. And there are three categories when it comes to this technology, and that's the building owners operates and invest in themselves, and they're interested in this local operating costs. But the private developers invest for sale, and they will want to minimize their investment. And also the public developers have open two budgets: an investment budget and an operating budget. And the geothermal subsidies in Norway are among the lowest in Europe. And this makes the way for energy service, and will come now. Several examples, and one is the SAB, Nordic Green Energy Fund, and this is Scandinavian and Enskilda Banken. And this is a fund with focus on renewable energy among solar PVs and Ramstad heat pump technology. It's managed by the SAB Investment Management. So the fund invests in the systems, in solar and Ramstad heat pump systems, and the customer receives renewable energy at an attractive and competitive price. And we have cooperated with the SAB for the last year and are the Norwegian agents for the fund. So we follow the process from the ID to planning and construction, and also operation and management for the plant. But the purchase of the energy is from the SAB fund, and it's decided in an agreement. So what's the value for the customer? Profitability, no investment cost. That's really a hurdle, has been. Lower and more predictable energy costs. Increased value for the property, sustainable financing in accordance with the taxonomy. The fund is an Article 9 fund in the taxonomy. So we have a larger, lower climate footprint, and it's certified as sustainable energy, and get a more sustainable property portfolio, and local and renewable energy contributes to the green shift. Of course, we have the Energy Building Performance Directive into this as well. So it's getting more attractive for rental. Use less electricity, and you get a modern energy system. And the customer can focus on what they can, on their core business. For the summer, we expect shortages of electricity and net capacity. We can increase security, predictability, and competitive advantages by using local energy and self-sufficiency. And energy produced locally reduces the need for investment in new power production and nets and infrastructure. And this thing is quite, it's a lot of money, we can say. And of course, net capacity during the winter peak periods is the critical one. It's the coldest hour, the coldest day, the coldest year. That's this dimensioning for the net grid. So using Ramstad heat and geothermal solution reduces this strain, and not very much other technologies do that. That's an important point. And of course, the external financing of solar and Ramstad heat and geothermal solutions solves the investment barrier, and these are this is a project with low risk, and there's a large potential to do this project. So just do it and speed up. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really impressive to see this new, what called geothermal concepts that's coming. Are there some questions? Please.
Yeah. You mentioned that this was not a single level solution. So, and you also mentioned you got 50 the depth. What my question is, what is the recommended number of wells and depths to make this preferred solution?
Could everyone hear the question?
What's the minimum size? I think the question is about. It's we need energy heating demand of approximately 1 gigawatt hours a year. But of course, the geothermal was designed to 350,000 kilowatt hours a year. So that's a smaller version that we recommend. But if you go from 1 gigawatt hour up, it should be more and more interesting. It's not a defined limit, it's a project specific. But the larger, the better.
If you can answer my question.
What
is the recommended depth and number of wells?
Well, it has to be calculated for every case. But you have to have a volume ratio and a surface area ratio. So if the volume is small, the depth will be smaller as well. So the diameter of the cylinder has to be the same, approximately the same as the depth of the borehole.
And what is the depth and diameter?
And you have to calculate it.
For 1 gigawatt.
It's about 100 meters depth, 70 perhaps, 70, 80 meters depth, and 50 meters diameter.
Okay, and how many wells then?
It's like 60, 100, yeah.
Thanks. Or I would like to drill one well.
Yeah.
See from geothermal that it was more red in 2021 and more higher temperature than in 2022. Is that due to that it was in September in 21 and October 22, or?
No, it's approximately the same. But if there was a difference there, this was warmer in the edges around there, and that's normal because the heat will just spread. And we see that in other storages as well as ML, for instance.
How dependent is the system on the rock properties, the degree of fracturing, the basement, and general thermal properties of the encountered rock?
Not that. The thing you have to examine is the groundwater movement. So what we measure with the thermal response test, and if we measure a higher effective thermal conductivity on site than we expect compared with the mineralogical composition of the bedrock, it's a warning sign of this is external convection of heat from the groundwater movement. But that's very seldom, really. We have this occurs sometimes, but not very often. Short question.
Yes, I think everything is about cost. On these geothermals, what is the road trip efficiency, and will this be cheaper compared to, let's say, thermals above? They have a thermals on the district heating system at the top of the Trondheim. This thermals outside the building. Is that cheaper solution compared to the road solution, or is it something general to say about
that? I don't know the exact figures of the outside thermals. Of course, I work in the ground, but I think you need both, and I think both is quite cost effective. But you need a certain size, I think. But of course, the short time storages are very needed in this system. We need both short-term storage and long-term storage, seasonal storage. But the short-term can take very high peaks. Yeah.
So this type of ground is more short-time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll say that we have to go. So thank you very much.